The phone guy didn't notice anything wrong. I did. He was there to transfer my contacts, my photos, all the digital debris you accumulate over 5 years with the same device. Standard upgrade appointment at the carrier store, fluorescent lights, fake leather chairs, the smell of new plastic and air conditioning that never quite worked right. "This'll take about 20 minutes, he said. Young kid, maybe 23. Name tag said Brian. He had that practiced boredom of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. You want coffee or anything? I'm good. He plugged the old phone into his laptop. Screens lit up. Progress bars crawled across displays. I watched him scroll through menus, clicking through options I'd never bothered to explore. That's when he paused. Huh, he said. Problem? Nah, just, you got a voicemail here that was saved but never opened. From 2019. Didn't know the system could even do that. My throat went dry. What do you mean, saved but never opened? Like, it's marked as saved, but there's no play history, never been accessed. Weird flag in the metadata. He squinted at the screen. You want me to just transfer it over, or... What's the date on it? He clicked something. March 7th, 2019, 11:47 p.m. March 7th, 2019. 3 years and 2 months after my father died. Brian didn't notice. He was already moving on, fingers dancing across the keyboard, ready to bundle this ghost file with everything else and ship it to the new phone. Wait, I said. Can you play it here? Sure, yeah. He tapped the screen. Speaker or headphones? Speaker's fine. The static crackle filled the small room. Then a voice. My father's voice. Hey, kiddo, I know you're probably wondering how this is possible. Don't worry about that part. What matters is this. I know where you live now. 1847, Ashford Drive. The blue house with the white shutters. The one you bought with money you told yourself you earned. We both know better. Check the storage unit. Code's still the same. If you are hearing this, it means you finally got curious. Took you long enough. Click. 7 seconds, maybe 8. Brian was staring at me. You okay, man? You look like you saw a ghost. Something like that. Heart attack. Sudden, brutal, final. I was there when it happened. Watched the paramedics try to restart his heart in the driveway of his rental house. Watched them fail. Signed the papers at the funeral home. Scattered his ashes myself off the coast like he'd asked. So how did his voice end up on my phone, dated 3 years later, talking about an address I didn't move to until 2020? Brian cleared his throat. You want me to delete it, or? No, transfer it. You got it. He went back to work. I sat there, hands shaking, trying to process what I'd just heard. The voice was right. The cadence, the slight rasp he'd had from 40 years of smoking, even the sarcasm, that bitter edge that came out when he was disappointed, which was most of the time. My phone buzzed. Text from my son, Jeremy. Dinner tonight? Mom wants to talk about the house. The house. Right. The house we were all supposed to inherit when Dad died. The house that somehow ended up sold before probate cleared. The money vanished into legal fees and outstanding debts no one knew existed. I texted back. Can't tonight. Work thing. Another buzz. My daughter this time, Vanessa. Dad, did you get the message from the lawyer? Call me. I didn't want to call her. Didn't want to talk to Jeremy. Didn't want to think about the house or the money or the storage unit my father mentioned. 1847 Ashford Drive. He'd named my address perfectly. The blue house with white shutters. The house I closed on in March 2020, a full year after that voicemail was supposedly recorded. All set, Brian said. He handed me the new phone. Everything's transferred. Old phone's wiped clean. You're good to go. Thanks. I walked out into the parking lot. Afternoon sun beating down. Cars baking in their spaces. I sat in my truck for 10 minutes, staring at the phone, before I pulled up the voicemail app. There it was. March 7th, 2019. Saved. Never opened. I played it again. Same voice. Same words. Same impossible date. Check the storage unit. Code's still the same. The storage unit was in Northampton, 20 miles outside the city. Dad had rented it years ago, back when he was still working as a regional logistics coordinator for a freight company. He used it for overflow paperwork, old records, equipment he didn't want cluttering his apartment. I'd been there once, maybe twice, never paid much attention. The code he mentioned? That was easy enough. His birthday backwards. 1, 2, 6, 5. If this was real, if someone wasn't playing an elaborate sick joke, My phone rang. Jeremy. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Vanessa. I turned the phone off. Then I started the truck and drove toward Northampton. The storage facility looked worse than I remembered. Chain link fence, peeling paint on the office trailer, rows of orange doors stretching back toward a tree line that looked like it was trying to reclaim the property. I parked near the entrance. The office was closed. A handwritten sign taped to the window said, "Key codes work 24/7, no refunds." My father's unit was in the back, C17. I walked past rows of identical doors, each one secured with a heavy padlock and a numeric keypad. The place smelled like rust and motor oil. C17 was smaller than I expected, maybe 8 by 10. The keypad was weathered, numbers faded from years of sun exposure. I punched in the code, 1, 2, 6. There were 5. The lock clicked. I lifted the door. It rattled up on its tracks, loud enough to make me flinch. Inside was darkness and the smell of old cardboard. I used my phone's flashlight. Boxes, lots of them, labeled in my father's cramped handwriting. Freight logs 2012-2014, tax records, equipment manuals. Nothing interesting. Nothing that explained the voicemail. I was about to leave when I saw it. A plastic storage bin in the back corner. Different from the others. Newer. Clear sides instead of cardboard. I pulled it out. Inside was a phone. Old model. Same carrier as mine. And next to it, a spiral notebook. I opened the notebook. The first page was a list of dates, all from 2019, March, April, May. Each date had a timestamp next to it, and next to each timestamp, a name. Jeremy, Vanessa, and mine. I flipped through the pages. More dates, more timestamps. Some had notes, called 3 times, no answer. Block number, voicemail full. The last page had a single sentence written in block letters. They think I don't know. I sat down on a stack of boxes, trying to make sense of it. This wasn't supernatural. This was planned. Someone had set this up. Someone wanted me to find this phone, this notebook, these records. But who? I picked up the old phone. I'd need to charge it to see what was on it. My own phone buzzed in my pocket. I'd turned it back on during the drive. Another text from Jeremy. "Dad, seriously, we need to talk. It's important." I stared at the message, then at the notebook, then at the dates. March 7th, 2019. The date of the voicemail. It was circled in red ink. Next to it, a note. First contact. Test run. Test run for what? I took the phone and the notebook, left everything else, locked the unit behind me. The drive back was a blur. I kept thinking about the voice, my father's voice. The way he said money you told yourself you earned. What did that mean? By the time I got home, it was dark. The blue house with white shutters looked exactly like it always did. Quiet, suburban, safe. I went inside, plugged the old phone into a charger in the kitchen, sat at the table and opened the notebook again. More pages, more notes, detailed observations. Jeremy's car in driveway 11 p.m. Tuesday, lights on until 2 a.m. Vanessa at coffee shop, meeting with someone in suit, lasted 90 minutes. My father had been watching them. No, someone had been watching them and keeping records in my father's handwriting. The phone chirped. Enough charge to power on. I unlocked it. Same passcode. 1, 2, 6, 5. The voicemail app had 37 saved messages, all from the same number, all dated between January and June 2019. I played the first one. My father's voice again. Test 1. If you're hearing this, the system works. I'm keeping records. Every call, every meeting, every lie. You think you're clever, you're not. I'm always 3 steps ahead. I played the second one. Jeremy called again. Wanted to know about the house. I didn't answer. Let him sweat. The third. Vanessa's getting nervous. She keeps asking about the paperwork. Stalling won't work forever, but it's buying time. I played all 37 messages. By the end, I understood. Someone had impersonated my father. Someone had used his voice, his mannerisms, his intimate knowledge of the family to conduct surveillance on my children. A voicemail that would only surface years later, when enough time had passed for me to forget. For all of us to forget. Except we hadn't forgotten. Not really. The house, the inheritance, the money that disappeared. My father died broke. That's what Jeremy and Vanessa told me. That's what the lawyer said. Outstanding debts, medical bills, nothing left but a rental property he didn't own and a storage unit full of paperwork. But what if they were lying? What if they'd taken the money and hidden it, expecting me to just accept their story. I opened my laptop, searched for probate records, found my father's estate filing from 2016, executor Jeremy Dalton, my son, secondary Vanessa Dalton, my daughter. I wasn't listed. I called Jeremy. He answered on the second ring. Dad, finally. Where have you been? We need to talk, in person. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Tomorrow, we can meet at... Tonight. My place. Bring Vanessa. Silence. Then, it's kind of late, Dad. Can't this wait? No, it can't. More silence. Okay, we'll be there in an hour. I hung up, sat in the dark kitchen, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic. The notebook was still open on the table. I flipped to a page near the end. Final entry. If you're reading this, it means the message worked. Good. Now you know what they did, what they took, what they thought they could get away with. The question is, what are you going to do about it? I didn't have an answer yet, but I had an hour to figure one out. They arrived together. Jeremy drove, Vanessa in the passenger seat. I watched from the living room window as they parked in the driveway, their faces lit by the glow of their phones. Jeremy was 32 now, clean-cut, business casual even at 9 p.m. He worked in commercial real estate, or at least that's what he told people. I'd never quite understood what he actually did. Vanessa was 29, sharper than her brother, marketing consultant, freelance, always juggling 3 clients and complaining about burnout while posting vacation photos every other month. They walked up together. I opened the door before they could knock. Hey, Dad, Jeremy said, smiled, too wide. Thanks for making time. Come in. They sat on the couch. I stayed standing. Vanessa looked around like she was cataloging the furniture. Jeremy checked his phone, then put it away. So, Jeremy said, about the house? I found something today, I said. In Dad's storage unit. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Vanessa recovered first. You went to the storage unit. I did. Why? Because I got a voicemail from Dad, dated 3 years after he died. Jeremy laughed, forced. That's impossible. I know, but I have it. Right here. I held up my phone. Want to hear it? Neither of them moved. Look, Dad, Vanessa said slowly. I know losing Grandpa was hard on you, and sometimes grief makes us see patterns that aren't really there. He knew this address, 1847 Ashford Drive. He said it on the voicemail. I didn't move here until 2020. Silence. Jeremy shifted in his seat. Maybe you're misremembering the date, or someone edited the file. There's apps for that. The storage unit had records, phone logs, notes, all in Dad's handwriting, about both of you. Vanessa's expression hardened. That's crazy. Why would Grandpa keep records about us? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Did you bring these records? Jeremy asked, too casual. Can we see them? I left them in the car. Lie. They were upstairs in my bedroom, locked in the safe. Jeremy nodded. Okay. Well, maybe we should all look at them together, clear this up? Sure, I said. Right after you tell me about the probate filing. Another beat of silence. What about it? Vanessa asked. You filed it 4 days after Dad died. Both of you as executors. I wasn't even notified. You were in Arizona, Jeremy said. We couldn't reach you. I was there for work. For 3 days. I had my phone the whole time. We tried calling. Bullshit. The word hung in the air. Vanessa flinched. Jeremy's jaw tightened. Watch your tone, Jeremy said. Or what? He stood up. 6'2", gym membership he actually used. Thought his size mattered. I didn't move. Sit down, I said. Quiet, calm. He didn't. Vanessa put a hand on his arm. Jeremy, don't. Don't what? He took a step toward me. He's accusing us of something. I want to know what. The money, I said. Dad's estate. Where did it go? There was no money, Vanessa said. We told you. Medical bills, debts, the funeral. He had a pension, 23 years with the freight company, full benefits, which went to creditors. Show me the paperwork. We don't have to show you anything, Jeremy said. The estate's closed. It was settled in 2017. Then you won't mind if I request the records. Go ahead, Vanessa said. She stood up too, grabbing her purse. We're done here. They moved toward the door. I stepped aside, let them leave. One more thing, I said as Jeremy reached for the handle. He turned. That voicemail, it mentioned a code. For the storage unit. Dad's birthday backwards. 1, 2, 6, 5. So? So how many people knew that code? I don't know. Why does it matter? Because whoever made that voicemail knew it, which means they had access, which means they knew where Dad kept his records. Jeremy's hand was on the doorknob. He didn't turn it. You're paranoid, he said. You need help? They left. I watched them get in the car. I watched them sit there for almost 5 minutes talking before Jeremy finally started the engine. I waited until they were gone. Then I went upstairs, opened the safe, and pulled out the notebook. Flipped to the page with their names. The one with all the dates and timestamps. March 2019, multiple entries. Jeremy at property office, 4 p.m. Vanessa present. Document signed. April 2019. Second meeting. Lawyer present. Discussion of liquidation. May 2019. Transfer complete. Accounts closed. My father died in January 2016. These meetings happened 3 years later, which meant someone had been impersonating my father's interests during that time, managing his affairs posthumously, signing documents, closing accounts, and my children were part of it. I picked up my phone, called the freight company's benefits department, got an automated system, navigated through menus until I reached a human. Pension inquiry, I said, for a deceased employee. Dalton. First name Lawrence. 1 moment, please. Hold music. 3 minutes. Sir, I'm showing that pension was claimed in 2017, a full payout, beneficiary listed as Jeremy Dalton. Thank you. I hung up. $53,000. That's what Dad's pension was worth. Jeremy claimed it all. I opened my laptop, searched property records for Dad's old address, the rental house where he died, sold in 2016, April, buyer, an LLC, filed in Delaware. I dug deeper. Found the LLC's registration. Officer listed, Vanessa Dalton. They'd bought his house, flipped it, sold it 6 months later for $40,000 more than they paid. My phone buzzed. Text from Jeremy. You're making a mistake. Let this go. I didn't respond. Another text. We're trying to protect you. You don't know the whole story. I turned the phone off. Then I went to the basement, found the old filing cabinet I'd inherited from my mother, and started pulling records. If they wanted to play games, I'd play, but I'd play to win. The lawyer's office smelled like leather and old coffee, dark wood paneling, bookshelves full of legal volumes no one had touched in years. The kind of place that charged by the quarter hour and made you feel like you were wasting their time. Mitchell Crane was 60, balding, with the kind of face that looked permanently skeptical. He'd handled Dad's estate, he'd worked with Jeremy and Vanessa. Now he was going to work with me. I appreciate you seeing me on short notice, I said. Your son mentioned you might call. Crane leaned back in his chair. He said you had some concerns about your father's estate. More than concerns. Questions. I'm happy to answer what I can. Though I should mention the estate was closed in 2017. Probate's final. I know. I want to know why I wasn't notified. Crane pulled a file from his desk drawer, flipped it open. According to my records, we sent notification to your last known address in Phoenix, certified mail. It was returned as undeliverable. I never lived in Phoenix. He looked up. No? No, I lived in Tempe. Different city, different zip code. He frowned, checked the file again. The address we have is 4782 East Monroe Street, Phoenix, Arizona. That's not my address, never was. Then I'm afraid there was an error in the information provided to us. Who provided it? Your son. He filed the initial paperwork. I nodded slowly. And the beneficiary distribution, how was that determined? According to your father's will. Dad didn't have a will. Crane paused. I assure you, Mr. Dalton, we have a properly executed will on file, signed and witnessed in 2015. Show me. He hesitated, then pulled another document from the file, slid it across the desk. I read it. 3 pages, standard language. Distribution of assets. Jeremy and Vanessa named as primary beneficiaries. No mention of me. The signature at the bottom looked like my father's. Close enough, but the date was wrong. This says November 2015, I said. Dad had a stroke in October 2015. He couldn't write for 6 weeks. I was there. I saw him try to sign a check. He couldn't hold the pen. Crane took the document back, studied it. The witnesses verified. Who were the witnesses? He checked. A notary public and your son, Jeremy. Jeremy witnessed his own inheritance. That's not uncommon in family estate planning. It's also convenient. Crane closed the file. Mr. Dalton, I understand you're upset, but everything we did was legal. If you believe there was fraud, you're welcome to pursue that through the courts. However, I should warn you that contesting a closed estate is expensive and rarely successful. I'm not here to contest. I'm here to understand. Then I've told you everything I can. I stood up. One last question. The pension payout, $53,000? And you verified them. We did. Through what process? Crane shifted in his seat. We contacted the county clerk's office. Did you request a copy directly, or did Jeremy provide it? Silence. He provided it, I said. Didn't he? As I said, Mr. Dalton, everything was verified to our satisfaction. I left, walked to my truck, sat there for 10 minutes, breathing slowly, trying to keep the rage from turning into something stupid. They'd forged a will, used a faked address to keep me out of probate, claimed a pension I should have shared, bought and flipped property using an LLC to hide the transaction. And they'd done it all while pretending to be the grieving grandchildren who'd handled everything properly. My phone rang. I didn't recognize the number. Hello? Is this Thomas Dalton? Woman's voice. Professional. Clipped. Who's asking? My name is Rachel Portman. I'm a private investigator. Your son hired me in 2019 to conduct surveillance on you. I gripped the phone tighter. What? He told me it was for your own protection, that you'd been experiencing memory issues and he needed to verify you were safe. I believed him. I'm calling now because I've seen your inquiry to the freight company's benefits department. It triggered a flag. What kind of flag? The kind that makes me think I was lied to. Can we meet? When? Today. There's a diner off Route 9. Milton's. You know it? I'll find it. 2 p.m. Come alone. If your son finds out I'm talking to you, I lose my license. She hung up. I checked the time. 11:30. 2.5 hours. I drove home, grabbed the notebook from the safe, photographed every page with my phone, uploaded them to a cloud account Jeremy didn't know about. Then I took a shower, changed clothes, and drove to Milton's. It was a truck stop diner. Linoleum floors, red vinyl booths, the permanent smell of fried food and diesel exhaust. The parking lot was half full. Semis lined up along one side, cars on the other. I went inside, found a booth near the back. Rachel Portman walked in at 2 exactly. Late 40s, dark hair pulled back, wearing jeans and a canvas jacket. She looked like someone who'd spent a lot of time waiting in cars. She slid into the booth across from me, didn't order anything. Thank you for coming, she said. Tell me what you know. Your son hired me in March 2019. Paid cash, said you'd been acting erratic, forgetting things. He wanted documentation of your daily routines in case he needed to pursue guardianship. Guardianship? That's what he said. I did 3 months of surveillance. Photographed your movements, documented your contacts, verified your employment. Nothing I found suggested you needed intervention. I told him that. He paid me and said the family decided not to pursue it further. Did you ever meet with my daughter? Once. She was present at the final report meeting. She asked specific questions about your finances, whether you'd made any large transactions, whether you'd been in contact with lawyers. What did you tell her? The truth. You hadn't. Your finances were stable. You kept regular hours. You didn't show any signs of cognitive decline. I leaned back, processing. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because I don't like being used, and because surveillance on a competent adult for fraudulent reasons is illegal. If your son lied to me about why he needed the information, I could lose my license. I'm covering my own ass. What do you want from me? Nothing. I'm giving you the information as a courtesy. What you do with it is your business. She pulled a USB drive from her pocket, set it on the table. Copies of everything, photos, reports, logs, all of it. If you decide to pursue legal action, this might help. And if Jeremy finds out you gave this to me? He won't, unless you tell him, which I'm trusting you not to do until this is over. She stood up, started to leave, stopped. One more thing, she said. That voicemail you mentioned on the phone earlier, to the benefits department, about your father's pension? What about it? Your son called me 2 days ago, asked if I still had contacts in digital forensics, said he needed to verify the authenticity of an audio file. I told him I was busy, but he's looking for someone. To prove the voicemail is fake, or to make it disappear, either way he's worried. She left. I sat there for another 10 minutes, staring at the USB drive. Then I paid for a coffee I hadn't touched and drove home. The USB drive had everything. Photos of me leaving for work, entering the grocery store, sitting in my truck at lunch, eating a sandwich. Timestamps, GPS coordinates, a level of detail that made my skin crawl. But more than that, it had context. Rachel's reports included notes on her conversations with Jeremy, dates they met, payments received, and questions he'd asked that went beyond simple welfare checks. Client asked whether subject had accessed safe deposit box at First National. Client inquired about subject's relationship with ex-wife, wanted to know frequency of contact. Client requested details on subject's work travel schedule for April and May. Jeremy hadn't been worried about my mental state. He'd been mapping my life, looking for vulnerabilities, timing windows. I opened the notebook again, cross-referenced the dates, April 2019. While Jeremy had me under surveillance, he and Vanessa held their second meeting with the lawyer, the one where they discussed liquidation, May 2019. Transfer complete. The same month, Jeremy asked Rachel about my travel schedule. They'd been planning something that required me to be distracted, distant, unaware. I needed more information. My ex-wife, Linda, lived 40 minutes away in a townhouse near the lake. We'd divorced in 2014, friendly enough split, no drama, we just stopped working. I called her. You busy? Not particularly. Why? Need to ask you about the kids. Pause. What kind of questions? The kind better asked in person. That sounds ominous. It is. Can I come over? Give me an hour. I'm at yoga. See you then. I drove. Took the scenic route along the lake, watched families walking dogs and couples jogging, and tried to remember when life felt that simple. Linda answered the door in sweatpants and an old college t-shirt, hair still damp from the gym. She looked good, better than she had when we were married. Come in. Want coffee? Sure. We sat in her kitchen. White cabinets, plants on the windowsill. Everything neat and organized in a way my house never was. So, she said. What's going on? I told her. The voicemail, the storage unit, the notebook, the estate records, the surveillance. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. I knew something was off, she finally said. What do you mean? When your dad died. The kids were weird about it. Secretive. They kept saying you were too upset to handle the details, that they'd take care of everything. I thought they were being considerate. Did they ask you to sign anything? She hesitated. Power of attorney. In 2016, right after the funeral. They said it was temporary, just to handle some paperwork while you were dealing with grief. What kind of paperwork? They didn't specify. I signed it. I trusted them. She looked down at her coffee. Jesus, I helped them. It's not your fault. Isn't it? I should have asked more questions, should have checked with you first. They're good at this. They've been planning it for years. Linda shook her head. I can't believe they'd do this. I mean, Jeremy was always ambitious, but Vanessa, she was the sensible one. Money changes people. Apparently. She stood up, walked to a cabinet, pulled out a folder. I kept copies. Of the power of attorney. Everything they asked me to sign. She handed it to me. 3 documents, standard legal forms. My father's name at the top, Linda's signature at the bottom, authorization to access accounts, authority to sell property, permission to manage estate assets on behalf of the executor. All dated January 2016, a week after Dad died. They used this to liquidate everything before probate even started, I said. Can you prove it? I'm going to try. Linda sat back down. What do you need from me? Testimony, if this goes to court, that you were misled about what you were signing. You'll have it. Anything else? Did they ever talk about Dad's pension? Or his house? She thought about it. Once? Maybe 6 months after he died. Jeremy mentioned they'd handled the sale. Said they got a good price. I didn't think anything of it at the time. How good? He said $90,000. Enough to cover the debts with some left over. I pulled up the property records on my phone. Showed her. Purchase price, $58,000. Sale price, $97,000. 6 months apart. They pocketed $40,000, Linda said, from flipping his house. Plus the pension, plus whatever else they liquidated before probate. How much are we talking? Conservatively, $150,000, maybe more. She stared at the documents on the table. Our kids are thieves. Yeah. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. You can't let them get away with this. I won't. She looked at me, really looked. Be careful, Tom. If they're willing to forge documents and commit fraud, there's no telling what else they'll do. I know. I left. Drove home, spent the evening reading through everything again, the notebook, the reports, the property records, building a timeline, connecting dots. By midnight, I had it mapped out. The entire scheme. How they'd used Linda's power of attorney to access accounts. how they'd timed the property sale to avoid scrutiny, how they'd filed probate with false information to keep me out, and how they'd used my own father's voice to threaten me into silence. Because that's what the voicemail was. Not proof of anything supernatural, not evidence of conspiracy, a threat. I know where you live. Check the storage unit. If you're hearing this, it means you finally got curious. They'd known I'd find it eventually, known I'd start asking questions. The voicemail was their way of warning me off. Except they'd underestimated one thing. I wasn't the kind of person who backed down from threats. My phone buzzed. Text from Jeremy. We need to talk. Tomorrow, just you and me. No Vanessa, no lawyers, just us. I texted back. Where? Dad's old house, the one we sold. New owners are doing renovations. Place is empty during the day. 10 a.m. I stared at the message. This was a setup. Had to be. But I needed to see how far they'd go. I replied, I'll be there. Then I called Rachel Portman. I need a favor, I said. What kind? The kind that involves a camera and staying out of sight. When? Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Silence. Then, text me the address. I hung up. Checked my gun safe. Pulled out the Glock I'd bought years ago and barely fired. Made sure it was loaded. I wasn't planning to use it, but I wasn't planning to be stupid either. The house looked different. Fresh paint. New landscaping. A dumpster in the driveway full of old drywall and carpeting. My father had lived here for 8 years. Died on the front walk, right where the pavers met the driveway. I could still see him. The way he'd clutched his chest. The sound he made. That desperate, wet gasp. Jeremy's car was already there, parked on the street. He was standing on the porch, hands in his pockets, watching me approach. Thanks for coming, he said. Let's get this over with. He unlocked the door with a key I didn't know he had. We went inside. The interior was gutted. Bare studs, exposed wiring, the smell of sawdust and primer. Our footsteps echoed. Brings back memories, Jeremy said. Doesn't it? Not good ones. No, I suppose not. He walked into what used to be the living room, turned to face me. I'm going to be straight with you, Dad. You're making a lot of people nervous. Good. This isn't a joke. You're digging into things you don't understand. Then explain them to me. I can't. Can't or won't. He sighed. Ran a hand through his hair. Look, Grandpa owed money. A lot of money. To people you don't want to mess with. What people? It doesn't matter. The point is, when he died, Vanessa and I had to deal with it. Had to settle debts, had to make arrangements. Some of those arrangements required flexibility. You mean fraud. I mean survival. If we'd gone through proper probate, his creditors would have seized everything. The house, the pension, all of it. There wouldn't have been anything left. For any of us. So you cut me out. We protected you. You didn't need to know the details. Didn't need to be involved. That wasn't your choice to make. It was exactly our choice. We were executors. We did what needed to be done. I looked around the empty room. And the surveillance. What was that about? He flinched. Just slightly. What surveillance? Rachel Portman, private investigator, hired March 2019, paid cash. Ring any bells? His jaw tightened. That was precautionary. For what? You were acting erratic. After Grandpa died, we needed to make sure you weren't going to do anything stupid. Like ask questions. Like self-destruct. You have a history of that. The divorce. The job changes. We were worried. Worried I'd find out what you did. Worried you'd hurt yourself. I stepped closer. He didn't back up, but I saw his shoulders tense. Here's what's going to happen, I said quietly. You're going to give me copies of every document related to Dad's estate, every transfer, every transaction, every piece of paper you filed, and you're going to do it by the end of the week. Or what? Or I take everything I've found to the state attorney. Let them sort it out. Jeremy laughed, short and bitter. You don't have anything. Everything we did was legal. Forging a will is legal. We didn't forge anything. The signature's wrong. The date's wrong. The witnesses are compromised. Any forensic examiner would tear it apart. You're bluffing. Try me. We stood there, 10 feet apart. The house silent except for the wind pushing through gaps in the renovation. You're going to regret this, Jeremy said. I already do, but not for the reasons you think. I turned to leave, made it 3 steps before I heard him move. I spun. He was coming at me, fast, arm raised. I sidestepped. He crashed into the wall where I'd been standing, Plaster cracked. He swore, stumbled back, and came at me again. This time I didn't dodge. I met him head on, shoulder to chest, drove him backward into the exposed studs. He tried to grab me. I shoved his hands away. He swung. Wild, angry, I ducked. His fist hit the wall behind me. "Stop," I said. He didn't. He lunged again. I grabbed his arm, twisted, forced him to the ground, knee on his back. He struggled. I pressed down. I said, "Stop." He stopped, breathing hard, face against the floor. "This is assault," he gasped. "I'll have you arrested." "Good luck explaining why we're here." I let him up. He scrambled to his feet, backing toward the door. "You're insane," he said. "Just like Grandpa, that paranoid, bitter old man. You're exactly like him. If that's true, you should be worried." He left, slammed the door. I heard his car start, tires on gravel, then silence. I pulled out my phone, called Rachel. "Got it," she said. "All of it. Send me the files, then delete your copies." "Already done." "Thank you. One more thing. Your son made a call when he left. I couldn't hear what he said, but he was upset, shouting. You might want to watch your back?" "I will." I left the house, walked around to the side where Rachel had been set up. She was gone. Just tire tracks in the grass. I drove home, spent the rest of the day reviewing the video she'd captured. The confrontation was clear. Jeremy attacking first, me defending myself. If it came to that, I had proof. But I wasn't planning on needing it. I was planning something else. Vanessa's office was in a renovated warehouse downtown. Exposed brick. Open floor plan. The kind of space that looked artsy but probably cost a fortune to heat. I walked in without an appointment. The receptionist, a kid who couldn't have been more than 22, tried to stop me. "Sir, you can't just—" "I'm her father. Tell her I'm here." He made a call. 30 seconds later, Vanessa came out of a conference room, perfectly styled, professional smile that died when she saw my face. "Dad, this is a surprise. We need to talk. Privately." She glanced at the receptionist. "It's fine, Kyle. I'll handle it." We went to her office. Corner space, windows overlooking the street, minimalist furniture, everything arranged to project confidence. She closed the door. "What's this about?" "You know what it's about. Jeremy called me, said you attacked him." "He attacked me. I have video." She paused, recalculated. "Okay, so you defended yourself. That still doesn't explain why you're here." "I want the truth, all of it. Not the version you and Jeremy have been selling, the real story." "We've told you everything." "You've told me lies, and I'm done pretending I believe them." She sat down behind her desk, folded her hands. "What do you think you know?" "I know you forged a will. I know you used Mom to get power of attorney. I know you flipped Grandpa's house for a $40,000 profit. I know you claimed his pension without telling me. I know you hired a private investigator to surveil me. Should I keep going?" Her expression didn't change. "You can't prove any of that." "I can prove all of it. I have documents, I have testimony, I have video, I have the notebook from the storage unit with your name all over it. That notebook is inadmissible. It's not authenticated." "You sound like a lawyer." "I've been talking to one. Jeremy and I both have. They said you don't have a case." "Then you have nothing to worry about." She leaned forward. "What do you want, Dad?" "I want you to stop lying." "I'm not lying." "Then tell me why. Why did you do it? Why cut me out? Why go through all this trouble?" For the first time, something cracked. Just a hairline fracture in the facade. "Because you would have stopped us," she said quietly. "Stopped you from what?" "From doing what needed to be done. Grandpa was in debt. Real debt. Not credit cards or medical bills. He owed money to loan sharks. To people who would have come after us if we didn't pay." "How much?" $80,000, with interest compounding weekly. By the time he died, it was over 100. I sat down. "Why didn't he tell me?" "Because he was ashamed. And because you would have tried to fix it. Tried to negotiate or pay it off yourself. And you couldn't. You didn't have that kind of money. So you used his estate?" "We used what was available. The pension, the house, everything. It still wasn't enough. We had to take out loans, liquidate investments. Jeremy sold his car. I maxed out 3 credit cards. It took us 2 years to clear it." "And the will, the surveillance? How does that fit?" She looked away. "The will was Jeremy's idea. He thought if we controlled the estate from the beginning, we could keep you from asking questions until everything was settled. The surveillance was insurance. We needed to know you weren't digging too deep. So you could keep lying. So we could protect you. If those people thought you knew about the debt, they would have come after you too. I don't believe you. I don't care if you believe me. It's the truth. Then show me the debt. Show me the proof. Show me who these people were and how much you paid them. I can't, because it doesn't exist. Because they made us sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. If we talk about the debt or who it was with, they can come after us legally, or worse. I stood up. This is bullshit. All of it. You're still lying. I'm not. Yes, you are. You've been lying for 8 years, and you're so good at it, you probably believe it yourself by now. She stood too. Get out. Gladly. But this isn't over. Yes, it is. You can take your conspiracy theories and your fake evidence and your recordings to whatever lawyer will listen. They'll tell you the same thing ours did. You don't have a case. The estate is closed. Probate is final. You can't touch us. Watch me. I left. Walked through the office, everyone staring, whispers following me out. I didn't care. I got in my truck, sat there, hands shaking. They were good, better than I'd expected. They had lawyers, they had a story that sounded almost believable, they had each other to back it up. But they'd made one mistake. They'd underestimated how far I'd go. I pulled out my phone, called a number I'd found earlier that week. Forensic accountant, someone who specialized in estate fraud. My name is Thomas Dalton, I said when she answered. I need help proving my children stole from me. Tell me everything. I did. The forensic accountant's name was Patricia Reeves, 58, former IRS investigator turned private consultant. She charged $300 an hour and promised nothing except her best effort. We met at her office. Neutral territory. She listened to everything, took notes, asked pointed questions. How much can you prove? She asked when I finished. Most of it. I have documents, recordings, testimony, but not all of it. No, not the debt. Vanessa claims they paid off loan sharks. NDAs prevent disclosure. Patricia leaned back. That's convenient. NDAs don't typically cover illegal debt. Loan sharking is a crime. If they really paid off criminals, they could report it without legal consequence. So, she's lying. Probably, but without proof, it's her word against yours. She tapped her pen against the desk. Here's what I can do. I can audit the estate transactions, follow the money, see where it actually went. If there's a loan shark payoff, there'll be a trail, cash withdrawals, wire transfers, something. How long will that take? 2 weeks, maybe 3. And if you find something? Then we have leverage, enough to force a settlement or take to the state attorney. But if I don't find anything, you're back where you started. Do it, she nodded. I'll need access to all your records, everything you've collected. I gave her copies, the notebook, the USB drive, Linda's power of attorney, property records, probate filings, everything. One more thing, she said. Your children will fight back. They'll try to discredit you, claim you're confused, unstable, harassing them. You need to be ready for that. I am. Are you? She looked at me hard. Because once you start this, you can't stop halfway. It's all or nothing. If you back down, they win. If you push through, you might lose your kids forever. I already lost them. I just didn't know it yet. All right then. Let's see what we can find. I left, drove home. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I had a plan. That feeling lasted exactly 4 hours. At 6 p.m., someone knocked on my door. Hard, aggressive. I looked through the peephole. 2 men in suits, one holding a badge, police. I opened the door. Can I help you? Thomas Dalton? The taller one spoke. Badge identified him as Detective Morris. We need to ask you some questions about an incident involving your son. What kind of incident? Assault. He filed a report this morning. Says you attacked him at a property on Riverside Avenue. That's not what happened. Then you won't mind coming down to the station and giving a statement. Am I under arrest? Not at this time, but we'd appreciate your cooperation. I grabbed my keys. Let me lock up. They followed me to the station, put me in an interview room, standard setup, table, chairs, mirror on one wall. Morris sat across from me. His partner stood by the door. Tell me what happened yesterday, Morris said. I told him. Everything. The house, the confrontation, Jeremy attacking first, my defensive response. You have proof of this? Morris asked. Video, recorded by a third party. We'll need to see it. I'll send it to you. Morris made notes. Your son says you've been harassing him, stalking him, making threats. That's not true. He says you're obsessed with your father's estate, that you've been accusing him of fraud without evidence. I have evidence. Such as? I hesitated. Giving too much now would tip my hand. Documents, records. I'm working with an accountant to verify everything. So you're investigating your own children. I'm uncovering the truth. Morris closed his notebook. Here's the thing, Mr. Dalton. I've been doing this job for 20 years. And in my experience, family disputes like this rarely end well. People get hurt. Relationships get destroyed. Sometimes there's no coming back. Is that a threat? It's advice. Whatever your kids did or didn't do, is it worth this? Ask me that again when you know what they took from me. He stood up. You're free to go, but stay away from your son. If he files for a restraining order, you'll be arrested. Understood? Understood. I left. Got in my truck. Sat in the parking lot, hands on the wheel, trying to process. They'd weaponized the police, turned my legitimate questions into criminal harassment. If I pushed any harder, they'd have me arrested. I called Patricia. We have a problem. I heard your son's lawyer called me an hour ago. Threatened to sue if I continue working for you. Claimed I'm facilitating harassment. Can they do that? Technically, no. But they can make it expensive and annoying. I'm not backing down, but you need to be careful. Any more confrontations, and they'll have a pattern. So what do I do? Nothing. You wait. Let me do my work. Don't contact your children. Don't go near them. Don't even drive past their houses. Give them nothing to use against you. And if they come after me? Document everything, record every interaction, and call me immediately. I hung up, drove home. The house felt empty, too quiet. For the first time, I wondered if I was making a mistake, if pushing this hard was worth the cost. Then I remembered the voicemail, the forged will, the years of lies, and I knew I couldn't stop. Not now, not ever. Patricia called 2 weeks later. We need to meet, in person. You found something. I found everything. We met at a coffee shop, corner booth. She spread papers across the table, highlighted numbers, transaction logs, account statements. Your children, she said, are very creative liars. Tell me. The debt story is bullshit. There's no record of payments to loan sharks or anyone matching that description. No large cash withdrawals, no suspicious wire transfers. What I did find is this. She pointed to a series of transactions. 2 days after your father died, his pension was claimed. $53,000, deposited into an account jointly held by Jeremy and Vanessa. That same week, they purchased the house for $58,000. Standard transaction, nothing unusual. Okay. But here's where it gets interesting. 6 months later, they sell the house for $97,000. Net profit after fees, $38,000. That money goes into the same joint account. So they pocketed $90,000 total. Not quite. There were other assets. Your father had a savings account, $12,000. Investment portfolio through his employer, $21,000, all deposited into that same account. $123,000, give or take. Now here's what they spent it on. She pulled out more papers. Vanessa started her consulting business in 2017. Initial capital investment, $40,000. Guess where it came from? The joint account. Correct. Jeremy bought a commercial property in 2018. Down payment, $50,000. Source of funds, the joint account. They also took 2 vacations. Europe in 2017, Asia in 2018. Total cost, $18,000. Charge to cards they paid off immediately from, you guessed it. I stared at the numbers. They spent it all. Every cent. By 2019, the account was empty, but they'd converted your father's estate into business equity and personal experiences. No debt payoff, no creditors, no loan sharks. Just 2 adult children who saw an opportunity and took it. Can we prove this in court? Absolutely, especially with the forged will. I had a handwriting analyst review it. The signature doesn't match your father's authenticated signature on file with his employer. It's close, but not perfect. And the date is problematic. Hospital records show he was admitted for stroke treatment the same day the will was supposedly signed. He couldn't have been at a notary office. So we have them. Technically. But here's the complication. She pulled out another document. Statute of limitations on estate fraud is 3 years in this state. Your father died in 2016. It's now late 2024. We're well past the window. So we can't prosecute. Criminally, no. But civilly, you can file a claim for unjust enrichment and breach of fiduciary duty. Those have a 6-year window. You're still inside it. Barely. What are the chances of winning? With this evidence? 80%, maybe higher. But it'll take time and money. Legal fees could run $50,000 or more. Even if you win, collecting might be difficult. They've already spent the money on assets that are harder to liquidate. I don't care about the money, she looked up. Then what do you care about? I want them to know they didn't get away with it. I want everyone to know what they did. That's a different goal, and a lot harder to achieve through civil litigation. She leaned back. If you want public exposure, you need a different strategy. Like what? Social proof, media attention, make it impossible for them to hide. She paused. But that's not my area. You'd need a publicist or a journalist looking for a story. I thought about Rachel Portman, the surveillance, the recordings. I might know someone, I said. Patricia gathered her papers. Whatever you decide, move fast. The civil window closes in 6 months. After that, you're out of options. I will, thank you. One more thing. She handed me a flash drive. Everything's on here. Copies of all my findings. If something happens to me or my records, you'll still have proof. You think they'll come after you? I think they're desperate, and desperate people do stupid things. I took the drive, left, got in my truck and just sat there for 10 minutes, staring at nothing. Patricia was right. I didn't care about the money. I could live without it. But I couldn't live knowing they'd won, knowing they'd stolen from their own grandfather and lied about it for years, knowing they'd looked me in the eye and pretended to be the victims. I pulled out my phone, searched for investigative journalists in the area, found 3 names, made calls. 2 didn't answer. The 3rd picked up on the 2nd ring. Daniel Voss. Who's this? Silence. Then, I'm listening. I told him everything. He asked questions, took notes. At the end, he said, I'll need to verify all of this independently. Can't just take your word. I have documentation, records, video, a forensic accountant's full report. Send it to me. If it checks out, I'll run the story. But I need to warn you. Once this goes public, there's no taking it back. Your relationship with your kids will be over, permanently. It's already over. They just don't know it yet. All right. Send everything to this email. I'll review it and get back to you within 48 hours. I sent the files. All of them. Then I went home and waited. 46 hours later, Daniel called back. It's solid, he said. I verified the property records, the probate filings, everything. The handwriting analysis is damning. I want to run this. When? Next week. Front page of the local section. I'll need a quote from you, and I'll reach out to your kids for their side of the story. They'll deny everything. Probably, but their denial will be part of the article. Let readers decide who's telling the truth. Do it. My phone exploded. Texts, calls, messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years, all of them wanting details, offering sympathy, asking if I was okay. I ignored them, waited for the only call that mattered. I warned you. You destroyed us. Do you understand that? Vanessa lost 2 clients today. My business partner wants out. We're done. Good. This isn't over. Yes, it is. You lost. Accept it. He hung up. An hour later, Vanessa called. I hope you're happy. I'm not, but I'm satisfied. We'll sue you for defamation. Everything in that article is lies. Then prove it. Take me to court. Let's see who the jury believes. She didn't respond, just hung up. I sat in the silence of my house and felt nothing. No triumph, no satisfaction, just emptiness. Patricia was right. Once you start something like this, you can't stop halfway. I'd gone all the way, and I'd won. But winning felt a lot like losing. The civil suit took 4 months. Jeremy and Vanessa fought it, hired expensive lawyers, tried to suppress evidence, claimed the article had prejudiced potential jurors. The judge didn't care. The trial lasted 3 days. Patricia testified. Linda testified. Daniel Voss testified about his independent verification of the records. Jeremy and Vanessa sat at the defendant's table, stone-faced. They'd aged years in months. Jeremy's hair had gone gray at the temples. Vanessa looked thin, worn down. I didn't feel sorry for them. Their lawyer tried to spin the debt story again, claimed they'd acted in good faith to protect the family, claimed the forged will was a misunderstanding, not fraud. The handwriting analyst destroyed that argument. The signature was a forgery, no question. And the date made it physically impossible for my father to have signed it. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Unjust enrichment, breach of fiduciary duty, fraud. The judge ordered them to repay everything, $123,000, plus interest, plus my legal fees. Furthermore, the judge said, looking directly at Jeremy and Vanessa, I'm referring this matter to the state attorney for potential criminal prosecution. What you did goes beyond civil liability. It's theft, plain and simple. They stood there, silent. Their lawyer whispered something. They nodded. The hearing ended. We filed out. I avoided looking at them. Linda caught up to me in the parking lot. Are you okay? I don't know yet. You won, that's something. Is it? She didn't have an answer. I drove home. The house was dark. I'd been alone for months now. No calls except from lawyers and journalists, no visits, no family dinners. I'd won, and I'd lost everything that mattered. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is Vanessa. I need to tell you something. Can we meet? I stared at it for a long time, then typed, No. Another message came through. Please, it's important. It's about Grandpa. I hesitated. Then, you have 5 minutes. Coffee shop on Main, tomorrow at noon. I'll be there. I didn't sleep that night, kept thinking about what she might say, what trap she might be setting, but curiosity won out. The next day, I arrived early, took a table in the back, ordered coffee I didn't drink. Vanessa walked in at noon exactly. She looked worse up close, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She sat down across from me without ordering anything. Thank you for coming, she said. Talk. She took a breath. I lied. About the debt, about everything. There were no loan sharks, no creditors. We just wanted the money. Jeremy convinced me it was okay, that Grandpa would have wanted us to have it, that you didn't need it. Why are you telling me this now? Because I can't live with it anymore. Because it's eating me alive. Because I need you to know that I'm sorry. You're not sorry. You're sorry you got caught. Maybe. I don't know anymore. She looked down at her hands. But there's something else. Something I found when we were cleaning out Grandpa's stuff. Something I kept. She pulled an envelope from her purse. Old. Yellowed. My father's handwriting on the front. To Tom. Open when you're ready to understand. She slid it across the table. He left this for you, before he died. It was with his important papers. I read it. I shouldn't have, but I did. And after I read it, I knew we'd made a terrible mistake. What does it say? Read it. I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter. 2 pages, handwritten. Tom, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And knowing my kids the way I do, there's a good chance they've already tried to cut you out. Don't let them. Everything I had, I wanted you to have. Not because you need it, but because you earned it. You were the only one who stayed, the only one who called, the only one who gave a damn. Jeremy and Vanessa stopped caring years ago. They see me as a paycheck, as an inheritance, not as a person. I see it in their eyes when they visit. When they ask about my health, they're waiting for me to die. So here's what I want you to know. Whatever they tell you about debts or creditors or money problems, it's bullshit. I don't owe anyone anything. I've been saving for years. Pension, investments, the house, it's all accounted for. And it's all supposed to go to you. If they try to take it, fight back. Don't let them win. Don't let them rewrite history. I know you, Tom. You'll want to avoid conflict. You'll want to keep the peace. Don't. They don't deserve your mercy. I'm sorry I wasn't a better father. Sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. But I'm trying to make it right now. Don't let them take this from you. Love, Dad. I read it twice, then put it down. He knew, I said quietly. He knew everything, Vanessa said, and we ignored it. We convinced ourselves he was just a bitter old man, that he didn't understand, but he understood perfectly. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was ashamed, because I didn't want to admit we were exactly what he said we were, and because... She stopped, tears running down her face. Because I thought, if I kept it hidden, maybe it would stop being true. I looked at her, really looked, saw the wreckage of what used to be my daughter. You can't fix this, I said. You understand that, right? I know. The money, the lies, the years you stole, there's no coming back from that. I know. So why are you here? Because you deserve to know the truth, all of it, and because... She wiped her eyes. Because I loved you, once, before all of this, and I wanted you to know that. She stood up. I won't contact you again. I'll pay back what I owe, all of it, and then I'll disappear. You'll never have to see me again. She walked out. I sat there with the letter in my hands, my father's final message, the proof I'd needed all along, but it was too late to matter. I'd already won. I'd already destroyed them, and I'd already lost everything that winning cost. I folded the letter, put it in my pocket, walked out to my truck. The sky was clear. Afternoon sun warming the pavement. People going about their lives, unaware, unconcerned. I started the engine, sat there for a minute, thinking about everything that had happened, everything I'd done. Then I put the truck in gear and drove home. And for the first time in 8 years, I felt nothing at all.